Hello and welcome to Fearless. This is a podcast about strength, resilience, and raising anyway. I'm Kilene Shelley, and today we have a very special guest. This is Tiffany. Tiffany reached out to me pretty quickly after everything happened with Katie and shared her story of her daughter. And so when I was putting together March's podcast, I definitely wanted to highlight some of these stories. So, Tiffany, thank you for being here. Can you tell us a little bit about your daughter?
Sure. My daughter's Kaya. Now she is about 18 years old. It's been 9 years, but um and she's doing wonderfully. She's in her first year of college now and super proud of her. I don't know, just love her to death and super proud
Yeah.
of her. Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about leading up to her AVM. Did you see any signs of it? Was there anything that led you to believe that there was something wrong?
No, actually, leading up to it, no indication. Thinking back after it happened, there's a few things that were like, that's probably what that was. But she was a competitive gymnast, doing amazingly in school, outgoing, like, involved, and we really didn't have any indication that something like this was gonna happen. It was just kind of a ticking time bomb
Yeah.
we didn't know about.
Well, the day that it happened, what can you share with us about that? How did it was it very sudden? Was it kind of like things happened prior to it that were weird?
Yeah, so the actual day was and I'll get a little bit emotional maybe because, always thinking back to that day, it kinda, like, bubbles up, but she was supposed to go to gymnastics practice. It's like an hour and a half drive from where we lived, and, I she asked not to go. I'm kind of a, we were kinda, like, strict about that because it's competitive gym, you made a choice, you have to go to practice, those kinds of things, and we were pretty strict about that. But my husband was out of town, and I had 2 littles at home, and she really wanted to go to the little bookshop, because they had authors that would come in and they'd sign books, and it was a children's offer, and I was like, didn't have it in me that day. I was like, "You know, let's do
Yeah.
it. Let's go do that." And we just had a really great day. I just kinda said yes to a lot of things. They made slime and, just things I normally wouldn't do. And I was making lunches that night because they have school the next day, and I heard stuff upstairs, like, sounds that were a little odd. They sleep with me when my husband's out of town, so I went up there and she was on the floor in the bathroom. And, I mean, they had gone to bed normal, everything. There was really just no indication, and she was kinda, like, vomiting, so
Mhm.
and my younger daughter had had a stomach bug, not like, maybe a few days before, so I was like, "This is what it is." But she was looking through me.
Yeah.
There was nothing, like, you know what I mean? And I was like, "I don't know if this is normal." Like, I don't know, like, it just was kinda odd, and we were very fortunate. We had good friends that were nurses and PAs that lived, in my neighborhood, so I called my friend and I said, "Listen, she's not, like, responding to me. Is that normal?" She's like, "No, call 911." So, it was just very fast
Yeah.
kinda after that. I mean, I kinda remember everything, but it's just, like, moved very fast from there. Yeah.
I feel the same way. I felt like when everything started happening, everything was moving in very quick motion, but it was almost like I was moving through it very slowly. Like I was able to observe so
Yeah.
much more than what was really happening, which was crazy to me. Like,
Yeah, like, fine tuning things, like, I don't know, there was kinda weird things that my brain kind of focused on, like, um, sitting in the ambulance, I'm like, "Why aren't we going?" Like, I felt like we
mhm,
needed to move faster. I remember having that feeling and watching them put the IV in the ambulance and her not responding me and my brain, like, taking that, like, she was deathly afraid of needles. I mean, when she had to get her shots for school, things like that, she was like a screamer, a runner, a squirmer, and she didn't react at all. So, in the back of my head, I was thinking this probably not a stomach bug, but I was still kinda holding on to that, like,
yeah.
hope, you know?
What was the moment that they told you what was kind of going on and what kind of was going through your head at that point?
So we didn't get a full answer because we lived, in a village, so super tiny, and the hospital that the ambulance took her to is in a small town.
Mhm.
Um, so in the ER, they did a scan of her head. I think it was a CT because it's the quick one.
Yeah.
Because I think they could tell, like, maybe her pupils were responding. They weren't telling me everything, but I was kind of, like, noting things as, they were moving her through, and I had gone back to the CT with her. Um, when I came back, my 2 friends, one's a PA, one's an RN, you just kinda see it on their faces. I think the call had already been made to the room, that she would need to be med-flight, out because it's a smaller hospital. So they were preparing the room already to get her going. And the doctor there, just based on what he saw, said maybe it was a tumor. Like
Mm.
he showed me on the scan, what was going on, and he didn't have a definite answer. So in my head, in what I called my
Mhm.
husband, who was out of town, they think she has a tumor in her brain. So that was what I had, the information I had. She got med flight to Duke, which is about an hour and a half drive, and I had to ride.
Drive.
My friend drove, but I had to ride. So like, just that's
That's
all
the
I had
hardest
until
part.
we got to Duke. Yeah,
Yeah.
and she definitely got there before
Mhm.
us, way before us. So I think they had some answers as soon as I got there. They kind of sat me down with like the actual information.
And was your husband able to join you at that point, or was he, like, out of town?
No, so he luckily, it wasn't he was drivable, he had drove, he was in West Virginia, I believe, for business, and, so he started the trek, like, home from and I can't remember what the drive was, but, it was really kinda sketchy because in the mountains of West Virginia, and it was rainy, and,
Mhm.
there was a good period of time, I just couldn't get a hold of him, I was like, I
Right.
don't know, that I had friends there with me, so that was a nice part, and, like, kind of a support system or whatever, because I don't know, I just so eventually he got there.
Yeah. I can remember hearing the word AVM for the first time and just being super confused. So
Yeah,
when you were told that's what it was, were you just as confused? Because I know up to this point we hadn't heard of any of this.
never. I had never heard of it, and, they can explain it to you, but it's all, like, s it Spanish, I mean, like, a
Yeah.
language I didn't
Yeah.
understand, so,
Yeah.
I don't even think I looked it up. I mean, the doctor sat me down, he explained what it was, and I think I didn't even fully register it, but it's just like I knew what was happening to her. Like that's what I had laser focused on was that all the things that were going to be happening to her over the next like few hours or whatever. Um, I think it wasn't until later that we really like kind of looked it up to fully understand like what it all was, but I'd never heard of it.
Yeah. What was her initial path like? Did they take her into surgery right away, or did they put a
So
drain in? Like, what step did they go?
yeah, I remember so when I got there that she was already in the PICU. They hadn't taken her back yet because I think they had to call in the neurosurgeon is quite a big team, and it's also a learning hospital. Um, I think even that my husband made it before and then right when they were taking her back, so he was able to see her before. They explained, that they had to do the angiogram with the ink and all this stuff before so they can fully understand it and that they were gonna try to remove it. It looked like what I mean? It kinda gave me some, like,
Hope.
insight, and then so
Yeah.
she was in the PICU for a little bit, and then they took her back for the surgery, and, the things I kinda, like, held on to were, they tell you all the risks and what it might look like after, but the brain is so tricky, like, even they didn't really know what the impact was gonna be for her afterwards. I just remember them, like, talking about, like, the chance that there was a good chance that she wouldn't make it either, like, you have to, like and they're, compassionate, but also, like, kinda blunt about that, I guess, just
I found that neurosurgeons are very much like that. Like, they just want to tell you what it
yeah,
is, and they'll give you the worst case scenario, and then anything above that, they've come out victorious. So I understand that totally.
yeah, I'm sure, I guess they have to be cautious, and I didn't even talk to her nurse. We didn't meet early. She had a vascular surgeon and a pediatric neurosurgeon, and then a slew of other people that I didn't meet, but, it was just the ER doctor that wasn't even gonna be performing her surgery that kinda talked to us about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So during the surgery, were they able to remove it, or was that a
So
stone that
she
you
was
had to?
very fortunate of the location of it was on the outer side of her, it wasn't in her, um, and they were able to fully remove it, clear all the bleeding, and, she has, clips and coils, still in her, like, in the veins or whatever to, like basically, it's like a, when you have a stroke, similar, like, procedures or whatever,
Yeah.
like for
And then what
clearing.
did recovery kind of look like for her? Was it a slow ride? Did she start moving pretty quickly?
So she was in the PICU, for a few days, and I just kinda they're pretty slow because, they kinda have to monitor, like, the swelling in the brain, all these things, blood pressure, like so she was out of it. I can't even remember how many I mean, honestly, I don't that all that
Yeah.
kinda just a blur, like, the time that she was in PICU, I just remember the events, so, um, they kinda were monitoring realizing that she was trying to breathe on her own and made the decision to, extubate her, and, that was just, like, a very scary thing. I have a picture of that because I was started to take pictures because she was very into, like, pictures, and I know she would wanna understand, so, there's just I think there's, like, 7 or 8 people around her because 'cause they're not really sure what that's gonna look like, um, and when they took the tube out and the first thing that happened was she said, "I need a tissue," and, like, there was just, like, collective,
Oh,
like, sigh in the room because 1, like, this is okay. Also, her language was there, like,
yeah.
because you didn't know what's gonna be affected when they
Yeah.
wake up, exactly, so
So what was affected? Was a certain side of her body, or did she have very minimal?
yeah, so she had left side deficiency, straight waking up. They would ask her to squeeze the left, and she would squeeze her right, like, it
Yeah.
wasn't awake at all. They weren't getting any movement, anything from the left side, but with her, it really kinda came back super quick,
Yeah.
that there was left side deficiency even going home, but, like, by the time she left the hospital, um, she was like, they had ordered a walker and everything, and they canceled it. She was walking well, enough that she wouldn't need, a walker, but, we were in their hospital room every day with the PT and the OT. The biggest thing was fine motor. She needed
Mhm.
functional even once we got home, for, like, the fine motor of her left hands and, like, doing, like, things like that, and I feel like I think the biggest thing, like, was she had a big vision problem coming out of the hospital that took longer than anything else, and she ended up with, her left lower peripheral blindness, like, it's completely, like, gone.
Gone.
Yeah. That's never coming back.
Yeah. So how did she handle the therapy inside the hospital and then the therapy outside the hospital? Like, I find that kids that have had this just have like this new lease on life and they are just so positive. Did you see that as well with her?
Are you saying with your daughter?
Just in general, I just find like kids that I've talked to, they just are like
Yeah.
kind
Yeah.
of these happy kids.
Yes, and well, luckily, I mean, she was already a very, like, positive, happy, like, a vivacious, like, kid before, and the biggest the change coming out of it was you can't see it, but she had a lot of and more internal. Um, I think that she still was kind of the same person, but the processing of it came later, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? So, um she had to stay like, because she couldn't go back to she was in the middle of gymnastics still, like, she used to go 3 times I think it was 3 times a week for several hours, like, training and stuff like that, so, just missing going to the gym, being with her friends, doing the things she loved, she wasn't allowed to go back to school immediately, she had a really, really sweet teacher that was like, "I'm coming to your house," so she would get out of
Oh.
school, and she came to the house because she wanted her to be able to finish 4th grade, um but, like, the way she learned had changed and
Mhm.
things like that, so, like, her what you're talking about, like, having a new lease on life is kind of came later. She
Yeah.
just I don't think she had that realization of, like, what it actually meant, everything that had happened right
Well, and
away.
she was young, right? Like 9 years old is
Yeah,
hard
she
to.
was 9, so it's just kind of like she definitely had some emotional processing, like, we had a little diary we would write back and forth, because there was, whether she realized it or not, some trauma with going to bed and waking up in a hospital, because for her, there was really no memory of that what actually happened. I think she told
Yeah.
me she remembers getting up to go use the restroom to, like, go pee, and then that's it. Like, that's the last thing she remembers. So just the processing of that, and then, like, she was really grumpy in the hospital. She didn't like being tied down to IVs. She
Mhm.
didn't she's a very independent child
Mhm.
from very little. Like, she wanted to be on the school bus when she was 2, going to school. Like,
Yeah.
she just was she's just a goer, and
I
so
I think the
yeah, go
story
ahead.
that you shared with me was that she had gotten out of bed on her own, like, hooked up to all the
Yes,
IVs.
yes. After being moved out of the PICU, and she still wasn't left side fully awake, um, she was sleeping. I decided to step out, go to the, parents' room to brush teeth, freshen up, all that kinda stuff, and I came back and she was in the bathroom,
Oh my
and
god.
I'm just like, "You cannot," like, she just did not want anybody to help her, especially with things like that, like, really,
Mhm.
really angry about those kinds of things, like, having to be helped, having to wait for people to help her.
Yeah.
She just wanted to do it by herself. I'm like, "How did you even do it?" I don't even know.
It's amazing what they're able to do, and did you find so, like, when we were going through all this with Katie, people would tell us, like, "Okay, she's gonna hit every stage again, like, you're gonna be in the infant stage, then you're gonna be in the toddler stage, then you're gonna be, like, in" like, they just go through these
Yeah.
stages in recovery. Did she have the same kind of pattern?
Um, I didn't really see necessarily, like, the stages like that. I mean, it was just the process of, like, learning to walk again,
Mhm.
basically, which for her luckily went fairly quickly, um, but very frustrated, with that. And, there's also that people don't think about, like, the eating process, like, you can only have an ice chip. You can only, like, going through, like, baby steps with that, which was
Mhm.
really frustrating for her too. Um, and the being able to read, like, she would have to turn her head and read with one eye because she
Yeah.
had vision, for quite a while afterwards. So, it wasn't really necessarily like the stages like infant, things like that. It was just like these baby steps that were, like, super frustrating for her. Um,
That she had to go through, but it's hard at 9
yeah,
years old to
yeah.
like, figure that out, I'm sure.
But for
And then
me
how
and my because I know that they told me, like, there's a good chance that, um, she may not fully get all her physical back, or she may not fully get all her language back. I mean, all those kinds of things. So in my head, I was watching the progression. I was just like these like boxes like checked, like, oh, okay, that's you know what I mean? Like, so I was just sighing. I know she was just very frustrated, and but I just knew how well like she was doing, even though she didn't feel like maybe she was
yeah.
doing well. Yeah.
Did you find while you were going through it, it was hard to kinda see past what was directly in front of you? Or were you able to kinda see the bigger picture? And I ask that question because my husband and I processed it differently.
Hmm.
I was more focused on, like, the little things. I remember one day in particular, she had this like sore in her mouth from the tube that had intubated her. And it was like a day that they were like working on like 500 other things. Like they were trying to get her
Yeah.
blood pressure in order. They were trying to get her temperature down. There was like all these other
Yeah.
problems. But I was so fixated on that one thing. And
Yeah.
my husband's like, you're not seeing like, there's bigger issues here than
Yeah. Yeah.
that. So
I
how
could
did
see
you
how, yeah.
handle it?
Um, I don't think that I'm more about like in a moment person, focusing on like right now. So I wasn't seeing like kind of the bigger picture. It's just kind of focusing on like the baby steps.
Hmm.
And I would say like my husband and I were probably on the same page with that too. Like he had a moment after they had taken her back, and you kind of you sitting there and you're kind of processing like everything that's just happened and what's going on, whatever. And he had like a why her kind of moment.
Mhm.
Um, and I was just like, when you look around in the PICU, it's just like, why any of them,
Right.
so we kind of reined that like in pretty quickly and just kind of just focused on like the baby steps and
Yeah. No, it's
yeah,
definitely hard. And then when she got out, did she want to look back at all those pictures, or was it a good period of time that she just didn't really wanna focus on it? I find,
yeah,
like, they lose that there's that period of time that they've lost, and
yeah,
they're wanting to figure that out. Was she
right.
the same way?
I can't really remember when she had asked, or when we started to kind of go through the pictures. I kind of waited because she had staples in her head when she came home, and she still had all these kind of limitations. Before I had ruptured, my husband before he left had put in a slack line in the back, and she just wanted to go. Like she was kind of just like wanting to get back to her life that
Yeah.
in that way. So I think I waited on that. We were mainly kind of processing like some emotions that she had. Like she kind of had this feeling of like helplessness, I guess, or I don't really
Mhm.
know how to explain it. Like she wanted me next to her like constantly. Like
Yeah.
we slept in the guest room together. Like she didn't. And if I stepped away, because I have a younger daughter, she was in first
Mhm.
grade when this happened, so balancing, the attention was kind of really hard. And so I'd step away to take care of my younger daughter and she's like, "Where'd you go? Why'd you leave
Mhm.
me?" Like, and she kind of just had this thing going on. Like, I think that was like everything that happened to her, like it was like internalized. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah,
So that brings up a good point. How did your younger daughter handle all of this, and what were those conversations like with her because she was so young?
she was. And yeah, that was hard because, I kind of she was asleep when everything was going on, and she kinda slept through like, I brought Kaya brought downstairs, for my neighbor who's a nurse, and we had a, volunteer medic in the neighborhood that had heard the call for the ambulance, and he came kinda right away. So, there was a lot going on, so I just left her upstairs sleeping, and, when it was when time to leave the house, my neighbor, she who was an RN, her daughter was best friends with my youngest. She just kind of took her out of bed and took her home, put her in bed with her best friend. So she had some processing with that too. I mean, I felt really bad, but I knew she was in great hands because these were
Yeah.
people that she spent so much time with, and they got her up, took her to school the next day, like nothing was going on. I had some questions, or like, well, Kai's in the hospital. I don't think we processed that. She, my husband didn't go and get her like maybe till a couple days later because I don't think she was allowed in the PICU. Um, at that time, she didn't see her in the PICU. She didn't see her until she was in the regular room, and she kind of is more of a she's also an internalizer, so, like, she didn't vocalize anything. Just wanted to help Kaya, like, she wanted to read stories to her and, like, ask when we're coming home because by that time, we had family had come in from out of town because 'cause we're a military family, everybody lives, all
Yeah.
over the place, and to help out with that kinda stuff, and she just kinda had questions about when we're coming home and things like that. It didn't really come out later, the feelings of, "Why did you leave me? You were gone so many days." Like, that stuff did actually affect her,
Yeah.
um, but it didn't come
It's
out till
hard,
later.
especially those kids that internalize it. Like, it's just hard for them to
Right.
my son's the exact same way. Like, our daughter wants to rehash everything about 100 times, and he's like, "I don't wanna talk about it."
Yeah.
And that's, like, hard for the 2 of them because I know how it affected him,
Yeah.
but he doesn't want to always share that with her, so that's
Yeah.
always
Yeah.
a fun thing. How do you feel like it affected you as a parent?
For me, it was that moment in the hospital after they had ta taken her back for surgery, and you kinda just have, all of a sudden, like, the minute to, like, kind of start to process everything that had happened over the last, like, hours, basically, and we were sitting there, it was my husband and I, and just kinda talking and processing some emotions, and I was thinking about the day, and honestly, that probably changed the way I parented from then on.
Yeah.
Um, I was just so grateful for that day that we had. It was just an amazing day, like, we went to the park, and I just think had I, um, made it a fight, like, "No, you need to go to practice," like, and I kinda would have regretted it. We just had the best day, so since then, I haven't been the I guess the word I don't know if I could the
You can
hard
say
ass.
whatever you want. Yep, you
Yeah.
can say whatever you want.
The hard ass that I was before, like, very like, stern and strict, and this, a little more relaxed with because the little things are what matters the most, and, um, I don't know, I'm just a little more relaxed with
Yeah.
things like that. Maybe a little too much too, but, like, I just had that moment of, there's a good chance she's not coming out of this, and every day, you kinda have that in your head. Even if you're to kinda move into the motions, things are busy, whatever, like, I always come back to, in an instant,
Mhm.
everything could be gone, and what matters the most.
So, I'm getting ready to send my son off to college in
Oh,
this next year. You just sent her off to college this year.
yeah,
She's at FSU.
yes.
What was that like for you after all the stuff that you've been through with her to let her kind of go off and fly away? Beyond like every senior parent has that moment, but like
Oh, yeah.
you have kept her in this, I'm sure, a bubble for a while and as you should. How was that?
It is hard, and, but I feel like my mentality is also, like, just so grateful that she gets to have the opportunity, and I was really hard because we're in North Carolina, and she picked a Florida State school, which is so far away, so we don't even get, like, occasional weekends kinda
Right.
thing, so I was a little sad about that 'cause, um, just would like to have her closer, but I'm just really grateful, and I had to take a step back and be like, so lucky that she gets to do this, and that, like, she wasn't so affected that she's not able to go to college, or just it always just kind of brings me back about, like, all the things it could have been and it's not, um, and that she's just so fortunate,
And she's
and
thriving
she's thriving, like, yeah, she's doing really well, and she's,
because FSU is not an easy school to get into. Let me just throw that out there. And especially if you're coming in from out of state. So kudos to
yeah.
her for that.
Yeah,
That's
really,
amazing.
it is. She was super excited because it was her number 1 choice. Um, so she was,
That's awesome.
she's yeah.
So as we're kind of wrapping up here, what do you wish more people knew about AVMs? Or if you were to, you know, you reached out to me and that was so sweet and was so encouraging, but maybe a parent that's just starting this journey, what would be your kind of thoughts to them? It's kind of a two-part question, I guess.
Right. It's, just one baby steps. I mean, really, that's what it is. Focus on it's so hard because you can see all the things that maybe were lost or are being lost or things like that, but, like, just kinda have to focus on the baby steps, one thing at a time, just or else you're gonna completely get overwhelmed. It's gonna be way too emotional, and be grateful for the little things that you have,
Yeah.
right now instead of, like, maybe what you've lost or whatever, and reach out to people. I mean, there are support groups that I found, like, after, which is a great thing about Facebook is you can probably find a support group for everything.
Hmm.
It will give you information too because I just wanna know more. I wanted to understand it all and, like, what does this mean later, or how can it affect her later, those kinds of things. You'd see everybody that's having those experiences.
Yeah, absolutely. And they do come out of like going from not knowing what this is to like having all these people reach out. I'm like, oh my gosh, this has happened to so many other families and so many other kids. It's just such a crazy, it's so
Right.
crazy.
There's this weird, like, it's kind of rare, but also when you find these kind of groups, like, wow, it's actually, I mean, it's still rare, but it doesn't, there's so many people that it has affected. And honestly, it's not just in the brain either. I thought for a
Yeah,
long time it was just in the brain, and it's not. It could happen anywhere in the
in the
body.
body. Yeah,
Yeah.
for
And it's
sure.
congenital. There's nothing you can do about it. You can't, there's nothing you did. There's nothing you can do. It's just what it is.
I think that's been the hardest thing to get people to understand because everybody wants to have like an answer for why it happened, right? So they start
Yeah.
going like, what did you do here? Or what did you give her? What is she eating? And there's all these things that they're trying to understand. And at the end of the day, it's so hard to be like, there's nothing we could have done
Yeah.
differently. This is just how it was formed when she
Right.
was,
From birth. Yeah.
yeah. Well, let me end by asking you this question. What are you most proud of with your daughter?
Just her
And that
ability
might
to
make you cry. I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay. Like, I mean, I have emotional moments every now and again, but like we just had one honestly recently, because she's still coming to terms with
Mhm.
what happened to her. And there is a chapel that she's joined at FSU that the pastor's best friend just recently died from an AVM. They
Mm.
were in their 20s, and he was by himself, or she was by himself in the home when it ruptured. So nobody was there to intervene or help. And who knows if that would have. And she found this out and like really just had a moment like of like in this like weird survivor skill that she didn't even know like existed came in, and she had this epiphany of like she has been putting so much pressure on herself to be perfect and to do this and to like strive. And she's like, I don't understand. I thought that came from you guys, but it came from this internal, like, I want to be worthy of being saved.
Yeah.
Uh, and at that moment, finding out of this person that that's what could have happened to her, just kind of had it all bubble up again. Like these things actually she didn't even know existed. And
Mm.
I'm just proud of her for continuing to push and to continue to like understand, and also to make sure that she does make the best of like her life, and that she's using it as not like a why me or not like a um negative thing, which it very much can be.
Mhm.
It's like, what do I do with myself, and how lucky am I, and I'm just going to be the best person I can be, and I'm just really proud of her for that.
Well, I'm proud of you too. I just want to thank you for reaching out to me. I know that you probably reach out to other parents as well. This community is small,
It
but
is.
we've all
I
been
say I
through.
haven't. You are the only person I've reached out that I've seen
Oh,
that had kind of connections with an AVM. Like you're the only other one that I
yeah.
know. Yeah.
It's a totally small. It's a small group of parents that we never thought we'd have to be a part of, but here we
Yeah.
are.
Yeah.
So thank you for sharing her story. I hope that this reaches somebody who needs to hear it because the fact that she has thrived in life and is in college and is doing such amazing things, her future is so bright. And I just can't wait to see all that she does.
Oh, me too. I really appreciate it. It's one of the big reasons I wanted to come on here, because just it would have been so nice to have like a resource or like listen to like other stories at the time that it happened, or even like months after, because for a long, long time I didn't know anybody that had
Well,
been through the same
and
thing.
that brings up here we are trying to close, but that
That's
brings up an
okay.
interesting thing. Like it's so helpful to, even though every path is different and every
Yeah.
kid obviously it's in a different location and
Yeah.
their recovery is so different. It was nice to kind of see like for instance, when you sent me that message and I could see her in that cap and gown, like
Yeah.
that was like, okay, we don't have to limit her because there were so many
Yeah.
people that were like, here are some other things that you can consider because she may not get to that point where she'd be ready for college. And we were like, no, it is doable because there's
Yes.
other kids that have done it. So to
Yeah.
see that the path had been walked already was
Yeah.
huge for us. So thank you for that
Oh,
because
I'm so
I don't
glad.
know how else to say it, but it gave us the hope that we needed in those moments to say, No, I don't accept that because
Yeah.
other kids have walked this path and they've
Mhm.
made it, and we're gonna make it. So thank
So
you for
yeah, and
that.
I still follow her story. It's, like, just so sweet to follow, and, she's doing so well.
Well,
Like, I'm just
thank
so
you
happy to see how she's doing, and, they're lucky they're young. They have that on their side,
for sure.
in this particular situation, and the brain's a funny thing.
So funny.
Yeah, it
So
really
mysterious. I feel like there's so much more that we need to learn. So
the
sharing
real
stories like this, I think, help because
yeah,
things can happen in an instant and families' lives can be changed. So,
completely. Yeah.
well, Tiffany, thank you so, so much. I
Thanks
appreciate
for
you
having
being here. And if the story resonated with you, please share this with somebody who might need to hear it today. But until next time, everybody stay strong and thank you for joining us.